Yo guys, Beast, back with some more beastly content, back with some more farming tips. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and start with is how to keep your crop irrigation facilities actually full of water. So snake belly teleportation tower here. We're going to show a couple other areas too that have water really close by the teleporter tower. There's actually a closer area we're going to show it later in video for water. There's also technically a hole near my base, I just realized, so I could have just went there. But what we're doing here is collecting the maximum amount of dirty water we can. One other thing I will say about gathering dirty water this way is if you actually place down your camp and you bring with yourself, either bring yourself a bunch of logs or have a bunch of logs nearby your water source, you could technically sit here and make a whole bunch of boiled water. That way you can carry, because when you make the boiled water, it takes up less space than the dirty water. So you'd be able to get a good few amounts of boiled water, or even just make the maximum amount of boiled water for your first trip. Fill up all of your water storage containers. If you have a large farm like me, you're going to have multiple water storage containers for your irrigation setups. If you have a small base, or you only have a one water storage container farm, then you'll have to make less boiled water. But if you have a large scale farm like mine, you can need a lot of boiled water, and if not boiled water, purified water. Now I actually do have a water purification setup built. I live in a it's not that I live in a polluted area, it's that my thermal tower has a setting on it where it makes the area a polluted area, so it's not looking like a polluted area, and I don't have any of the negative effects. But I mean, except this is kind of a negative. My water pumps now only pump polluted water, which means I cannot make purified water with water pumps. So filling my irrigation systems, while is a must, it's also a chore at this current point in time. So the way I've made it a lot easier for me and made it a little less of a chore is by making it a daily login sort of thing. The instant I log into the game, I just go to the watering hole, start gathering water, and it's just gonna sit there and AFK until it's filled. Once it does that, I go back to base, run it all through the stoves, and throw whatever I don't use into those two water storage containers that are just back there. And then also I have one up here on this ledge that also runs to what is the whole rainwater collection system. So that does work for purified water even in polluted areas, but I still get acid out of it as well. That's why my water container, when I harvest from it, does have just a little bit of polluted acid in it, or impure acid in it. So here's another great spot. There's water here, and technically the other good thing about this snake pass teleporter here is that it's also by what looks like an ocean to me, so I'm thinking you can actually get seawater from one side and then dirty water from the other. So if you're needing salt or something like that, you could just go gather seawater. Now if seawater is ran through an osmosis purifier, do note it's still going to make purified water, so you could technically gather seawater, especially if you're wanting the salt out of it while you're at it. But we're here to gather the water for the reason of needing to make purified water. Now I'm going to show you my setup just a bit here now. So as you can see here, it's just a water storage container ran to an osmosis purifier that runs out to another water storage container. All of the dirty water goes in. So another number, let me throw some numbers at you real quickly. Let me help you out with some information here. So purified water takes 2 dirty water to make, which means that 2 water storage containers full of dirty water will make 1 full purified water storage container. Now for me, that is perfect. That should make it where I'm able to log in every single day and get what I need. So with my setup back there, I've upgraded that one where it was just the single storage container. I have 2 storage containers now that I'm going to fill with dirty water the instant I log in, which is what I did today. And then at the bottom, the osmosis purifier, the output chest, every single day that I log in now, should just have purified water in it, ready to go, ready to be put into the crop facilities. Now, I always do a manual water on all of my watering things right when I go to plant stuff, so that I'm not wasting water irrigating all the time, because you don't really need to irrigate all the time. You just need to get your irrigation levels up on your plants. The instant the irrigator kicks off, you're not done. The irrigation levels will remain, they'll just slowly lower. So what you need to do is just when you log in, you need to get your irrigators going. They're going to go until you get to the percentage that you have them set at, and then they're going to stop. So there's no reason to have anything directly connected to your water storage container that's running your irrigators. You just need to be adding the water in it daily. And I know it is a little bit of a chore, but there's always chores when you're running a farm like this, guys. And also, you have to plant the seeds. And if you're not planting the seeds, you're messing up as well, because there are so many different fertilizers in this game that you need to be knowing about. Technically, there are 3, but 4, 5, or 6 technically. But there are 3 main fertilizers: yield boost, growth boost, and breeding boost. Breeding boost can be made from most flowers, though the most popular one and the previously only method was scarlet calamus. Breeding boost allows when you plant one seed, it'll turn to 3. My tower has one of the tower upgrades. I've covered all the tower upgrades in a previous video. Link down below if you need to watch that. And it will runs through everything, like all the tower upgrades you can get, the boost you're growing and everything. But what we're using here today is boost fertilizer, and we're running the ice melons, the spike tomatoes, and then we're also going to do the sunny ginger and the mint. And we're running all the seeds here so that we can just have all of these crops growing. Now, while we are using breed boost fertilizer and we're doing this for the seeds, when I actually harvested this, and we're going to see the harvest at the end here, I was actually able to get enough of all of the plants to make 7 of the like securement stew or whatever it is, the hot and cold boosting food item, right? So just from just creating the seeds here. Now, another tip I want to go ahead and mention here, you shouldn't be carrying all your seeds on you when you run a farm facility like this, and it's very easy to do because I do it all the time. You have hundreds of all sorts of plant seeds stacked up from breeding them forever and ever and ever. You need to be taking those and sticking them in a storage container, because every time you die, you're going to lose like 10 or 20 seeds that you may have really needed. I remember losing all of my morel seeds last season once, where I didn't have any morel seeds to make canned seafood because I didn't have a seed chest. It's an absolute must to do when running one of these farms, no matter the size, really, just because you want to make sure to hang on to your seeds. You can keep some of your seeds on you, because I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to go get the seeds out of the container just to be able to plant. But I usually keep some seeds on me, but then I keep like seeds in the seed bank. I guess you can call it a seed bank too, maybe, instead of like a seed storage container. So like I'm checking through here. I thought I had one down here on the bottom level, but we're actually gonna have to go to the top level storage containers. So here we go, onto the top level storage here. Right here is actually my seed chest. As you can see here, we have all sorts of different seeds in here, but as I said, if I die, I don't have to worry about these being lost forever, and as long as I'm able to make breed boost fertilizer, which I usually have a bunch anyway, I'm going to be able to grow these seeds into being more seeds anyway, and I'll never run out of seeds that way. And just a nice little tip here I figured I'd mention. You want to make yourselves a seed box. You don't want to be running around with all your seeds on you. I know it's like you store everything else, but seeds are like so light. I don't even know if they have a weight, but they can be lost upon death. And sometimes when you die, you don't want to have to go back and get your stuff. Also, as a way of winter, if you die in lava, your stuff is gone forever, no matter what, friend. So just keep that in mind. Get yourselves a seed chest. It'll make things a lot easier. We were actually going through and seeing like what seeds we had here, because I think I've had all, and I think I realized I had them all planted at the time. I have all 3 of the contaminated plants seeds. I want to do a test to see which one produces the most acid per yield. Because, and I noticed something about one of them. One of them only uses like 2 items, while one uses 3. So unless like the yield is so much greater of the other ones or something like that, the one that only uses 2 materials might be your best bet for growing. We are going to have a full video covering that when we do our testing on that. We have a few different ideas we want to be doing our testing on the farming. However, I have a lot of videos coming up, guys, and they're completely different from farming. So don't worry, we're not going to be stuck on farming for a week. We are getting on to something a little more interesting tomorrow. In regards to Stardust Source, and a very, 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 very nice way to farming it, guys. But as you can see here, we're just breed boosting the seeds that we have. Like, we have 5 sunny ginger seeds. I want to have hundreds of all of these seeds. I would like to run, like, you see, I have this here 2x2 crop farm design here, and I have 5 facilities that are these 2x2s with the loamy soil on them. So what that means is, since there was only 4 food items, I'm going to use 1 silo each for the 4 different ingredients for the stews, right? And then I'm going to take those 4 different ingredients, and then I'm going to take that last silo, and I'm going to do just scarlet calamus. That way I can run my breeding boost still in the background while all of those are going on. And I think I actually have, because I think I have like good 600 or 700 mushrooms I harvested. Speaking of which, you need to be growing your mushrooms. We're going to talk a little bit more about why you need to be growing mushrooms so bad and why I have 109 seeds, especially if you didn't bring a certain deviation over from the previous season, because it is an absolute must, really, for the convenience factor, just logging in and being able to collect your harvest and then just get to planting instead of having to harvest and then plant. Just a very, very nice convenience factor. Once again, we'll be talking about that in just a second here. Right now, we're just going through and getting all the spike tomatoes planted down. If you're wondering for a location to go get spike tomatoes, I've mentioned this a million times, but the Paradise Lost event, it has like a little square on the map where its event area is. Right beside it, there's a field. There's a bunch of spike tomatoes growing there. There's a bunch of coneflower growing there. If you don't have any scarlet calamus seeds and you need your breed boosting fertilizer, just go farm the coneflower there and you can grow coneflower, and that will also work to make breed boosting fertilizer now. Just a nice little tip there as well. And as you can see, we're also growing corn here. Now, we grow corn for a couple different reasons. First of all, there's like the corn ale that you can make if you just throw corn in a brewing barrel with some purified water. And it cures like all insanity issues, and it also like is it keeps you from gaining sanity too, I believe. It's like a 30-minute effect or something like that. But very, very useful to have and all. But another really important cooking ingredient, especially in canned seafood oil, is corn oil. So that's actually what we were making our corn for, and why I recommend you to grow corn is because there's just a lot of uses for corn. Even from the corn oil to the corn ale stardust drink you can make just by throwing the corn in a brewing barrel. Absolute great. And I think the deviated corn actually makes an even better drink. And I'm thinking we're actually getting kind of stacked on deviated corn. I know we have way too many deviated mushrooms right now, and I don't really think there's too many good reasons for having them. But as you can see here, we are now in the contaminated room, and here's what you need to be doing when you're growing your contaminated crops. So you're breed boosting up your seeds. As you can see, we have 9 of these things now. So we've been working on this for a little bit. You need to be making sure that like the lighting is proper, and as you can see, it says 70 right now. We're gonna have to change the lighting and make it good for the contaminated berries. So technically, all of the contaminated crops only need 10 lighting. Other crops, however, need higher lighting. So what we're growing here is yellow tulips. Now, the reason why we're growing yellow tulips here actually is because yellow tulips can actually survive and grow pretty much fine. I mean, it's not a green grow, but it's better than a red grow that you're going to get out of anything else. So I didn't have enough room to fill up this entire containment area, and it has the light like right over it, so all of these are going to be getting the same irrigation and lighting. So I figured I'd grow some of the tulips there. I'm forgetting why I actually grew the tulips. I'm thinking it's for like the I'm thinking it can be used to make the like it's for the whole animal taming system. There's like the whole weird bag things you need for the tower upgrades. I think that's why I'm actually growing that there. But the reason why we actually did it was just because, you know, we could set our grow light to just 40. That way our contaminated plants weren't growing too slow. Like you see, they're still happy with 40 light, which is great. Contaminated berries do not mind 40 light. The tulips say it's low, but it's not too low. It's just a little bit low. So both of those should grow fine, and as a matter of fact, they did. I have already harvested all of the contaminated crops in there and the tulips. I will be setting that back to just a contaminated crop farm now, as I am thinking that we should have enough contaminated berries to at least fill that silo. Once again, we're trying to fill like all silos. And last thing, mushrooms, why you should be growing as many as possible. So I recommend just growing mushrooms and breed boosting them over and over and over if you are after a grow shroom. So there is a cave in the Nuka World area that has like a few mushrooms, but farming that sounds absolutely miserable when you could just be growing mushrooms. One day you're going to log in to go to harvest all your mushrooms. You're going to look inside your grow facility and you're going to see yourselves a grow shroom just standing there ready to harvest. I swear, guys, it happened, and I have myself a grow shroom, and we're about to get another one actually just after having the grow shroom. I planted him down and he had collected all my crops. Right here we're just showing like how the base is doing, and once again my reason for why I don't have as much purified water as I could if I didn't live in a polluted area is because of the amount of impure acid and acid that we are able to get out of this. You don't have to lose having a farm facility just to have the acid facility. You can have all of it as one. So here we go. Here's our new grow shroom, guys. We do have him fully kitted out. A green light up top. It says in a warm environment, and right now that's not ticked off, but usually it is because usually it's warm in this environment. For some reason, when I logged in at this point, it wasn't. But as you can see, yeah, grow shroom. But I am out. See yous. Keep it beast mode.